All right, this will be video number 2 for your backend things. Last time we did create, we did our get all, we made the entity. So now what we need to do, we need to come in here, we need to do our update. So to update, we do HTTP put, and we'll need to specify a route here, and we need to give it the ID of the thing we're going to update. iAction result, update, and we take in from body, product, create, nope, not create, update DTO, update DTO, and we take in int ID. Cool. So now, first thing, var response equals new response. All right, so we got our response newed up. Next thing we need to do, we do var product to update equals data context dot set products dot first or default product dot ID equals ID. Perfect. So now we have the one we want to update. So now what we got to do is we need to go through all of our properties in the update DTO and override those in the product to update, right? So we'll do product to update dot name equals update dot name, product to update dot description equals update dot description, and product to update dot price equals update dot price. So there's those three things. And now we need to call save changes to actually save the changes that we just did, right? Because data context tracks everything we do to this object, so it knows that we changed these things. So we want to save that, right? So then after that, we'll do var product to return equals new products get DTO. Woohoo. And we'll do ID equals product to update dot ID, name, product update dot name, description dot description, and price dot price. All right, so now we got a response, and we'll do response dot data equals product to return, okay, response. All right, so there's our update, right? Let's kind of walk through this real quick. New up a response, get the actual entity that we want to update from our database, override whatever properties you need to do, right? Save those changes, and then you want to go ahead and make a get DTO to return to the user after they've updated it. Response.data is that thing you just made, and then you just return OK response. Next step, we'll do HTTP delete, and again, specify ID, public iAction result, delete, all that fun stuff, and then we'll do int ID. Perfect. Now, first step, response equals new response, and we'll do product to delete equals set of product dot first or default dot ID equals ID. So we're just grabbing whatever matches the ID that they passed in, and we'll say dot set of products dot remove product to delete, and then we'll say response dot data equals true, return response, return okay response. Perfect. This one's pretty simple and straightforward. We new up our response, get the thing to delete it, save changes, I forgot that, set the response.data, and return the response. Now, one thing you might notice, we got a little yellow squiggly here. I don't like yellow squigglies. This isn't going to make it go away, but we can actually solve this problem. Possible null assignment to non-nullable entities. This is just saying this thing might be null because first or default might return null. So what we want to do is we do if product to delete null response dot add error ID product not found. Cool. And then we'll do if response dot has errors return bad requests response. Perfect. So now, again, yellow squiggly doesn't go away, right? But if this is null, we add an error, and then if there's an error, we return here. So we never get to this point. And we're going to do the same thing up here, right? So you can see there's a yellow squiggly here, could be null. So I'm going to just copy this, right? Take this and then just kind of plop it here. That's a lot of coding, is just taking code from one place, putting it in another place. Again, yeah, this quickly doesn't go away, but if it's null, we return. Simple as that. Now, one other thing you might want to do whenever you're creating or updating something is you may want to validate your stuff, right? Make sure that whenever they're creating a product, make sure that they're giving me a name. And maybe make sure they're giving me a price that's, a positive number. I don't want people to be able to buy something and then I owe them money, right? So we're just going to go ahead and we'll do some validation on that. So step one will be, right under newing up our response, this is in the create, if create.dto.name, and we do string.is null or empty, create.dto.name, response.addError, name must not be empty. Now, one really cool thing we can do is if we get rid of this, we can do name of create.dto.name. And I forgot I need to put it in parentheses. And what this is going to do is it's going to do some fancy code stuff, and it's going to look at what this thing is called and make that a string right here. And you will see that in action in a minute. But basically that way, if I come into here, let's say I get rid of name, I now get an error here because, right? Like my actual error that I'm returning gives me a compile error saying, hey, name doesn't exist anymore. So then I can know everywhere I need to fix that. But name's important. We're going to leave it. But this is a cool thing you can do. Name of. And then we'll do the same thing. But we'll do if create dto.price is less than 0, add error name of price, and we'll say price must be positive. Cool. And then now we can do if response.hasErrors return bad request response. Cool. Makes sense? I assume that's a yes. So now we did some validation here, but I also kind of want to do that whenever I'm creating something, right? Like I don't want to be able to, or whenever we're updating something, right? Like I don't want to be able to just create something and then just go change it to break the rules. So we'll do the same thing here, and we'll just change all of our update DTO to say create DTO, or other way around. You know what I mean? So there we go. Now we have our validation here, and we have validation here. So I'm going to remove this part because we're already going to return here, and I want to return this error too. If there's a bunch of other stuff, you want to return all your errors at once if possible. So there we go. We have our validation in 2 places. Pretty easy, I think. And we did our delete. So now I'll save that, and I'm going to run it, and we'll see if it works. Cool. I already have Swagger open, so I'm going to refresh it, and we see get, post, put, delete. So let's go ahead and create one. Let's try with no name and -1 price to see if our validation works first. Perfect. You see we get a list of errors and not just one. And now you can see right here, right? Property is name. But for property, I just said name of this.name, right? Fancy. It just knows what I mean. Use that. It's a fun tool. So now let's go ahead and fix these issues. We'll say string strong and price of 1. Execute. We get a 201 ID 1 string and price of 1. Cool. So now let's make sure our get still works. Try it out. Execute. We get stuff. Perfect, just like we expect. So now let's say I accidentally made 2 of them. That's a get. Let's say I accidentally made 2 of them. Maybe even 3 of them. Oh no, now there's duplicates. Whatever should I do? Maybe delete it, right? So we'll go in here, ID 2, boom, gone. ID 3, boom, gone. And let's see if the validation works here. ID 23, 400, product not found, because there's no product with ID of 23 in our database. Boom. So now let's do our get, and we only have the one thing. Now, on that one thing, that price is a little bit low, and I should probably give it an actual name. So I'm going to say hamburger. Description. It's exactly what you think it is. But the price is a lot. Cool. So I updated it, right? ID is still 1, but everything else is different. And we execute this. ID 1, everything else is different. Perfect. Now let's say I come in here and I try and, break some stuff. Execute. Boom. Errors. Let's say I give this 10. Boom. Errors. One more thing you might need is a special version of this get called a get by ID. So this will be used, let's say when you want to update something, right? You're going to want to know what things you're updating. Like generally when you go to update your profile or something on a website, it's not just a bunch of empty fields and you have to hope that you remember what your new username was before and you can type it in the exact same just because you want to update your email, right? Generally everything is pre-filled for you and you just go change the things you want. And you do that by getting the thing they're looking for, showing those values in the fields, and then taking those values and putting them in the update, right? So we just kind of get something, user changes it, and we send up what they changed. So to do that get, we do HTTP get, and we do the same ID. And we'll do public action result get by ID, and we'll do from no int ID. That's all we need. And we're going to basically do this at the end of the day. So I'm just going to copy that, right? Copying code's great. Do it. Unless it's somebody's intellectual property. Then don't do it. And the only thing we'll change is instead of toList, we'll do .first or default. I can't type. Cool. First or default where the IDs match. Good. That's all we changed. But now we're getting only the one we want. So let's go ahead and restart this. It's not there. Oh, there it is. Get by ID. Cool. So now we need to remake one because there's nothing there. So we'll go ahead. We'll make string price 0. Perfect. And now let's get ID 1. And we get that. Right? So there you go. That's the final endpoint you will most likely need. Now, there's a lot of variations of these, right? Once you get into your projects and you're having these crazy relationships, which we'll have videos on later, how to do like many to minis and one to minis and all that fun and horrible stuff that you're going to love and hate at the same time. You might have more endpoints, right? Like maybe get by vendor ID for products. Maybe different vendors sell different products, right? You only want to show products for a certain vendor. You'll have to make a variation of this, right? But it'll all be the same core concepts at the end of the day. You're just kind of changing the data you get or receive a little bit. But that will be a video for another time. Right now, this should be a great start for you guys.